There's going to be many times where you hear me say, hey, 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 you got to listen to this next episode, but this is different. Every so often you hear these, I'm a self-made millionaire type people, and this, my dear, is one that you want to hear. Not only is George one of our amazing, relentless mastermind clients, but the truth is that well before he got to my doorstep, he already figured out how to go from getting notices on his front door to becoming a self-made millionaire. There's this crazy idea out there that you need all types of pieces, right? And you have to be rocket science, and you got to invent something, and then you got to know how to do code, and you have to be at the right place at the right time, and then you have to be the right color, and you have to be the right age. And what I love most about this conversation I got to have with George is that he proves and he makes it really clear that there's so much more to it. Know that it's a lot easier than you think. Now, this audio is going to be a little bit rough because it comes from one of our live events. And let me just say, if you haven't come to one of our live events yet, like, you're missing out on half of the reason why we're all alive. But what's true is that he walks our audience through this experience that I knew would be so delicious, and I wanted to share it with you. And here's what's real. As soon as you're done, like, literally take out your phone, send me a text, 305-677-8178, and let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you're going to implement. Tell me what was the moment that you were like, oh my gosh, oh, and mother effing G, and let me know. All right, let's get into it. So we have the George Dines. Let me tell you why I asked George to be here. George is one of the smartest men ever, period. And what's so great about who he is and what he brings to the table is that he and I both share this moment where we had a world around us telling us we needed to become something different. We needed to become something more. We needed to go and try to just figure it out. And both of us took to the streets and knocking on doors as a way to solve our problem. What's also really cool about George is that, one, he is also a relentless mastermind client. And I've had the luxury of being able to have kind of a window into his world and watch him grow over these last 12-ish, probably a little bit more than 12 months. And what's super fascinating is that in the midst of running a huge, big life, he's managed to also grow a six-figure business. He shifted gears and said to himself, I know that there's something more. I want to do something more. But his wealth of knowledge is rooted in money in general. And sometimes we think that the goal is always to make money. Let's just make money. Let's figure out how to make more money. And making more money is good. But George walked himself into this millionaire life and millionaire world by adopting millionaire thinking, which I talk about often, but then really thinking through the right habits. Habits will make or break you no matter what you're doing. Habits will make or break you. And as crazy as it sounds, the best way for us to get a hold of all of our habits is right now. I remember many months ago thinking to myself how grateful I was that I entertained this idea that it wasn't just always about making money, that it was also about me asking questions like, how do I just get smarter with the money I'm making? And George shares my philosophy for heading to the street and having local conversations, but also making smart moves wherever you can. So I asked George if he'd be able to take just a little bit of time out of his crazy big busy schedule to walk us through two things. One, how did he get from I don't have all the answers to building himself, his life, and his lifestyle? Then after that, deciding to take on a new challenge, think about his wants and deepest desires and facing himself, and then building a brand new business. I'm going to ask that we keep questions to the end of this, to the questions to the end. And George, let me just say, I need to tell you, I am so excited that you're here. George is like top 20 hardest people to get in touch with these days.
It's impossible.
He is. Listen, I can't hear him yet, but I will in a moment. It is one of the hardest people to get a hold of because he is so busy. So I want to just let you know that I'm really grateful that you're here.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that because yeah, it's totally impossible. This year has been crazy, and also spending the time working with Team Tiffany has been wonderful. So I mean, yeah, my time is crazy.
Yes.
So how did this all happen, right? How did this happen?
So everybody say, welcome, George. Hi, George.
Hi,
You want to
everyone.
know who George is. I promise you. So good. So George, start me at the beginning. Give me an idea for answering this question. What does it take from I can't pay a bill to I can pay all the bills?
You you gotta be sick and tired of it. Okay, you gotta be sick and tired of just having the job. There's nothing wrong with the job. I still have a job, trying to get out of the job, but there's nothing wrong with it. But you have to make a decision that things need to change. And so there's two ways to do it. To do that, I did it one way. The first way I did it, the first $100,000 I made, okay, was I bought Rich Dad Poor Dad. And in Rich Dad Poor Dad, Kiyosaki, whatever his last name, he spoke about how to buy a property with no money down and all that. I thought that was all bullshit and everything, right? So I said, I read the book. 30 days later, I bought a house with no money down. Okay, so I'm a landlord. I paid $90,000 for that house. Okay, rented it, and then of course in the area I live in, the real estate market blew up, and so when I sold that thing, I decided to sell it because it was a big drive for me to get things fixed and all that, and I decided no, I was going to sell it, so I took the profit. It was about oh, about 150,000 profit. Crazy. Okay. Then, so it can be done if you're focused on it. And I wanted a change because I was said I'm not making any money. I have to figure out how to make money.
So two things George said that I really want to stop really quickly. The first thing he said to you was you need to decide.
Correct.
Success leaves clues. George has not even been here for the 3 days with us, and he has not heard any other part of this content, but it's so important because success leaves clues. George said the first thing I had to do is decide because George lived in a place, in a state where he actually could not pay his bills.
That's correct.
And he couldn't pay his rent, and more importantly, I had no answers. Decisions come first, not the action and not the how. It's the decision comes first, second, and third.
When
He
that
made a decision. So let me ask you a question, George. Going back to real estate, you bought the book and you followed what was in the book, and then you said, "Okay, let's see if I can buy this house that the guy's talking about in the book."
step by step.
Perfect. Step by step. George is also a person, and I selfishly say this because George coaches with me now. That George, I know him to be true. He may not like all the process, but he does step by step, and he doesn't try to change the formula.
Right.
Okay, so he applied everything he learned. Was it easy around him? No.
No, it was hard as hell. I mean, it's scary as hell. Owning a place and renting it to people with kids. Sometimes stuff goes wrong. You got to get out there, but I mean, it pays off in the end. And then I mean, like I said, like Tiffany really has to keep saying this when you're sick and tired of it. Okay, you don't know what it's like until you're in your apartment, the doorbell rings, and some guy's serving you. Okay, it's you gotta pay.
Tell them, George. Tell them.
You gotta pay, and you're like, holy cow! And then you're pissed off because you figure the front desk people let the person up, right? But what are you gonna do? Okay, what are you gonna do? Things did not go good for me, which is why I relocated and I said I need to start different and I need to look at some different things and different ways to do stuff. Okay. Um,
So let me
I,
ask you a question. What's one of the first habits that you changed? What's one of the first habits that you put in place when you started to really consider what money could do for you? When you were like, I am going to become a millionaire. I'm going to make money. I'm going to such and such. What's one of the first habits you put in place?
well, everyone's going to laugh at this one, but like turn off the TV. Okay. Turn off the freaking TV.
Wait, hold on. This is Success Leaves Clues. Turn off the TV. I want everyone to put their name next to those words. This is so important. Turn off the TV, Tawny. Turn off the TV, Andre. Turn off the TV. Turn off the TV.
All right.
Turn off. This is AKA don't scroll on Facebook aimlessly. This is AKA. So in my house right now at this moment, I remember we needed a large television for an event that we were doing, and we ran out of TVs. We had a lot of them, and I was like, well, I think there's one in my house. And then Matt was like, this thing is not even plugged in. And the truth of the matter is, like, I was like, yeah, because I never watch the television. It does not ever go on, not even close. I
Then
want everyone to hear what he said. Turn off the TV. That's
turn
a
off
yes
the TV.
and the yes. Number two,
Your mentality. It's like, okay, so have a job. I had a job also. Okay. The way I looked at it was when I started business or when I just wanted to better myself. Okay. When I made money in the business, I didn't spend that money. I didn't take the money. I used the money to build continually. Okay. So so there's nothing wrong with it with a job. It's just at a certain point you're going to outgrow it, because as you get into business and you deal with people on a business level, when you go back to your job and you're looking at the relationships that you have with people there, it's not going to be the same. And you're going to one day say, what the heck am I doing here? Okay. But I'm not telling anybody just quit your stuff. No, use that strategically. Okay. I use my job strategically because I said, I'm not going to be in a situation where I don't have any money saved for anything. Okay. So fine. I said all the money I make, first it goes into the bank for my retirement. So, I'm not trying to, I guess, Tiffany, I'll just put it on the table. Look, you can save, you can come up with $1 million in your retirement savings if you follow the plan, but you fund that first and then you fund everything else.
so
Okay?
here's what's so important about what he just said. He had two jobs. He ran his own, what we'll call it a side hustle, a side business, a business, and then he focused. So he chose a job. Let me tell you where this fits in. There are some times that, so yes, you might say, well, Tiffany, are you saying to go get a job? No, I'm not. But I am going to tell you this. If you were to switch the word job for, sometimes we sell products and services because we can make money to sell the products and services. Sometimes we create offers that are not the joys of our life and fulfilling. Sometimes we do things because it's going to pay the bills, it's going to give us more money, it's going to give us faster cash. And you have to become comfortable with the uncomfortable, but you also have to sometimes in chapters, you have to become comfortable with things you don't necessarily like. He said, okay, great, I'm gonna take a job. Was it his dream job? No. Was it a job that he was like zippity doo dah? Probably not. But it didn't change the fact that he was like, okay, I'm going to work a map and a plan. I'm going to go get a job and let the job give me X amount of dollars. For some of you, you're like, you are sitting on a knowledge. You can build computers. You know how to write a book. You have this knowledge on how to design an interior house for somebody. You have very good, big knowledge, and you're like, oh, but I got tired of that industry. Yeah, but if you can't pay your bills, you need to go and do something with the skill and knowledge that you have so that you can secure and maintain good, solid dollars until you can not get back, but until you can build this up.
That's right. Yeah. So
Okay.
the next thing is, if you can't talk to people, you're not going to make it. And when I say talk to people, I don't mean like, you're shaking your finger talking to people. It's about talking to people in a way that they want to deal with you. So why did it take, told Tiffany this story. The only reason I made it is because I had cancer. Okay. I had decided I was going to go into a business, which was really hot at the time. And I had to sell this product. And I'm in the middle of it, and I got cancer. I was diagnosed with
Cancer.
cancer.
I want everyone to hear this. Cancer.
So cancer, diagnosed with cancer. So before I had a plan laid out for how I was going to market this product, and I did it on foot. It was in apartment complexes. I decided to choose a street that had nothing but apartment complexes for miles on down the street. I walked to every damn apartment complex. People threw me out. They slammed the door on my ass. Okay. They threatened to get the police on me. Nothing happened. And I made a rookie mistake on purchasing some equipment and inventory, but that's okay. I said, I'm still going to do this. I drove to everyone. Then I get, I'm diagnosed with cancer and I got to go through all this treatment and all this kind of stuff. And, it's difficult. I mean, you I had to go every day for a month, 3 times a week and get zapped. So I was in the car. I was feeling depressed because I had been rejected continuously. And I said, I'm done with this. I said, I got this package in the car and said, I'm going to just drive to this place. I'm going to drop this crap off and that's it because I'm done. I gave it my best. Okay, I'm done. So I roll into a place and I go inside and I look at the woman who is managing the office. And it was a surreal experience because she had these weird piercings and she had tattoos everywhere and all of this. And I was like, holy shit, well, I gave it the good go. I walked in the door, I said, hi, I'm George Dines from blah, blah, blah. And the first thing she said out of her mouth, I've been waiting for you. Okay. I said, what? She goes, I've been wanting your service. I didn't know where to get it. And you just walked in the door. As I told Tiffany, 3 days later, I had a contract. Okay. That moment changed my life forever. Forever. Never an issue of talking to anybody about anything. As a matter of fact, Tiffany and them, I know, especially Matt, probably think I run my mouth too much. But
no, we don't.
yeah, y'all do. That's okay. But
I mentioned, shut the fuck up, Matt.
And I hear Matt laughing back there too, so that's all right. but seriously, folks, does it really take you to have an experience like that? Do you have to get cancer to get through stuff, right? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But I learned that day that nothing's impossible. And it's you never give up. You keep beating that trail down, okay, until you get it right.
Beat the trail down. Let me write that down. Hold on. Listen to me, y'all. You guys are not even ready for George. Beat the trail down until you get it right. Beat it down. He didn't say walk it. Beat the trail down until you get it right. At George motherfucking Dines in these streets. Shit. Beat the trail down until you get it right.
So, right. So, from there, I had 3 basic businesses, 3 businesses that I was working on. One was vending. I was doing some government contracting, which was great. I mean, I got to go to Tokyo twice on that. And then also, as a financial person, I decided to try the tax field and working primarily with business owners. Most individuals don't get it, and most individuals don't want to pay for the service, which is crazy. If it's kind of like you got to pay for something that works for you and which is good. Okay, if you can't do that, then you shouldn't really, you got to figure that out. Because the biggest problem that you're going to have is if you're trying to scratch it through, it doesn't work. Okay, you've got to be able to delegate the time or the resources to get it right. Because if you don't get it right, people are going to say you're full of crap. Okay, so you can't look tacky or not done. The first 2 years, I didn't take any money out except for I paid for classes to improve my skill level significantly. Okay, to make sure that I understood the business part of it.
Did you hear what he just said? I didn't take any money out except to invest in my knowledge so that people could shorten the journey for me.
Right.
The
And
only investment, number one investment, success leaves clues. George, before George came a client, I knew I also participate in that same space. My number one expense is on the how.
yeah,
Number one thing that I spend money on in my life, not just in my business.
and yeah, so you have to do that. You gotta figure out how to do that for anything. You want to become the expert on that. So that if
Period.
someone asks you a question, you can answer it. Or if you can't, you say, well, you know what, I can't help you because I really don't know what's going on. I have no problem saying that. That's very important. It's very bad if you decide to think you can slug it through and then it ends up screwing up, especially in this business.
Correct.
And so you just can't do that. Also, um, I think before this, so Tiffany's calling me, right? Now, Tiffany and Matt are calling me like, that damn George, where the hell is he? I told him to be on this thing at 3 o'clock. I know that's what Matt was saying because Matt called me twice, right? But what didn't know is I had another client on the phone, but this wasn't just a client. This was a referral. Okay. Everything I do is on referral. Okay. I do Yelp. Now I'm doing
Wait, did you just say Yelp?
yeah, I do a test.
Wait, hold. Did everybody hear that? Hold on. I want everyone to hear what I'm gonna what he just said. George has not even been on our show today, and more importantly, George is now in the accounting space. He's in the accounting tax space. He's in the dollar space. Did you hear what he said? The first tool he uses in his city is Yelp. I want you to take a moment with what I just said. So huge.
And you can look me up. It's ComproTax. Like in the first part of Yelp, you put ComproTax, and then in the city part, you can put Washington D.C. and my site will come up. And so I'm
He's like,
branching out in that in a major way now. I stopped using Facebook because I'm looking for what. Did I do something wrong?
No, I love. No, here's what. Does anyone hear it? Can you just put George for the win? Can you just put, if you know why I'm sitting here laughing, can you just put George for the win? George, you're literally repeating all of my words.
Okay. But, yeah.
100%.
So,
I left Facebook. I left it. Now I slow down. I left Facebook 90 days ago. Left it. George for the win. Listen to this man. Please, let me sit down. I'm going to shut up, George. Go for it. We could just turn off my side of the camera, to be honest with you.
So after this period, I'm going forward. I'm recasting myself as. Oh, you don't have to do that. That one.
No, listen. Listen. You guys just don't know. This is it right here.
I'm casting myself as a what I call a concierge business. Okay, so if I'm only dealing with people who want to do it right and who are willing to pay for it, but they will get a certain level of service. So
Bingo.
I have to hire a staff person. So I have a virtual assistant. Okay, and this woman is off the chain. Okay, and she sends me a bill every month, and I happily pay that stuff because she got me $500 the other day because she called a client that was late on her bill, and the client was scrambling to make that credit card payment to me. Okay, so I needed that because that positions me as a different type of business, and I'm accessible through her, and she's very good. She handles my client management information, updates files, sends out invoices, sends letters, the whole thing.
All the things that George doesn't need to be spending his time on.
Exactly.
All the things that he doesn't need to spend his time on. Let me tell you something. George was actually here in the studio. I wish I could show. I'm gonna show it tomorrow. George was actually here in the studio. George, have you seen your footage yet? Oh, it's so
I
good.
have not. Have
I'm
not.
about to put it on my own site and like sell something and make something. It's so good. And when George was here, he said to me one of the biggest things for him was to get out of the mind frame of, even at this level, to stop doing things all by himself and in his own way, not allowing the fear of the unknown of whatever that next step is to win. And I share that in that space because just you hear him talk about the person that he's hired and he's building his team. And it's important because he had to learn to trust someone else. He also had to learn to teach someone else.
Yeah,
And
I do teach, for people who are ready to move. I don't waste time on people who will come in and say, "Oh yeah, I want to do that." Whatever. So I have a fabulous relationship with a Latina bookkeeper. Okay, so now she's on the team. Okay, and she does business. So she handles the Latino side, and in the past, she gave me referrals to do tax issues, and she handled the accounting. And I said, you know what, that doesn't make any sense anymore. You need to make the money. Why don't we just team up? Okay, and she works her ass off. Okay, and it's so funny because I'm at her house all the time, and her husband is like, "Oh well, you're back for more of this." So yeah, but the whole point is, if you're going to involve others, you got to find people who are willing to work and struggle through it. Okay, I have some other people.
work and struggle through it. I want to
Yeah,
take a moment of silence for that statement. It's not just finding people to work, but people who are willing to struggle through it.
yeah.
There is so much value in what you just said, George, for me as well.
That's really what it is. And there's going to be times, you're going to be frustrated. Look, I didn't go to bed until 2 in the morning. Okay, and that was because of a project for a client I'm working on. And and I know Tiffany is frustrated with me because she's trying to reach me, but I have this thing because it's got to get done.
I'm not frustrated with you at all. I
You
love
know
you,
what I mean.
George.
But yeah, but it's like yeah, it was like 3 years worth of 3 years worth of taxes, business taxes, and financial statement preparation. But so those days happen, okay, and you just have to kind of like flow with it and figure it out. But it's actually a lot of fun, especially yeah, it's a lot of fun. To me, it's fun. Okay, to me, it's fun.
Yeah, it should be. You're doing big things. Are you kidding me? You're killing the game. I'm so proud of George. I've had the luxury of working with him probably now. I mean, George has been in our community for almost 2 years, but
Yeah,
he
yeah,
became a private client about 7 months ago. And George is, I have a proud mama moment every time I watch the next move. But all of it came for me of me getting George to sit in front of his story and being willing to own a new level of his own value and a new level of his own want and desires and a new level of what he was capable of. So I wanted you to hear the best. I wanted you to hear a simple, easy, clean approach to the person who says, I have a job, I had a job. I tried this, I didn't try that. I got sick, I had cancer. I such and such and such. And more importantly, to hear the exact things that they did, not a hypothetical strategy. Notice none of these people talked anything about building a funnel or getting complicated online or any of the above.
no,
George's tax business, he just started in the last couple of years. 2-3 months ago, he sold his vending business. He sold a whole business.
yeah,
And so it's like sometimes we hear things, we're like, oh, but that person got started when everything was easy. And it's like, no, George didn't start when everything was easy.
it's
Not at
never
all.
easy.
Not at all. And he probably has 2 hours a day to devote to that other side of the world, which means he had to make those 2 hours intentional. 2 hours intentional. All right. So, George, your last thought before I send you back into your world and then go back through a new venture of stalking you through messages and going, Dear George, I miss you.
I'll leave you alone today, George.
We're gonna leave you alone for today, but tomorrow we're back at it. Like 8 and like 9 o'clock. We're gonna make coffee and then we're George is like the objective on the table. So last thought for the person who says, what's the number one thing I need to go and do right now?
Number one thing.
What's your last thought?
It's going to be weird.
No, it's not. This is what I appreciate about George. You see how he didn't just rush into an answer? He never does. He's going to give you the truth, and he's coming from inside of himself because he has been at all the levels. And now that he's over here, he's like, you guys can't tell me anything. I'm telling you the formula. Tell
Okay,
me.
Here's anybody. When I was younger, I was a science fiction fan. And I read a lot of science fiction, but I forgot it, okay, until a little while ago. You will not get anywhere if you have fear. Now, this sounds goofy, but if you read Dune, the book Dune, do not watch the movie Dune. Read the book Dune. And it says in there the most famous quote about fear ever written, that fear is the destroyer. Okay? If you're scared, you're not going to do it. You know, to me, like, do the damn thing. You know, I wear that t-shirt at the gym and everyone's like, well, why is that guy wearing that? I also wear the No Karen Not Today shirt. Okay?
Come on, George. I need me my picture of that shit. Come on, George. Bring that. Bring that home.
But look, if you have got to clear your mind of fear. That's what you have to do. That's what held me back, was fear. I was scared to talk to people. Oh, they're going to tell me no. Oh, this one's evil. There's my man right there. I just saw his picture. Mr. Clifford, what's up, man? How you doing? Fear. If you don't get rid of fear, you're not going to make it. So you got to force it. Okay, you got to have the door slammed in your face, regardless. But you can't say, oh, I don't want to go to the next door because they're going to slam the door in my face. No, it's fear. I suffered with that for years. Okay, scared, it was like, why not sales? I don't want to do sales. People are going to tell me no. People are like assholes. No. I think that's what you have to change. And if you can change that, there's no problem.
If you can change that, there's no problem.
Yeah.
That's it. Done. That man's done. He just schooled everybody. One time. All right. Give it up for the George Mother Dime.